Alright everyone, so hopefully this will be a little bit better quality of a video. Hopefully you can see the cards a little bit better than last time, but I didn't think last time on the Omnath video that was too terribly bad, so hopefully this will be just as good a quality, if not a little bit better. Today's deck tech video was requested by Obnixus Unshackled from Tumblr. His link will be in the description below, so if you guys want to check out his EDH content or his blog, you can go ahead and tell him I sent you. But today's video is on Prossh, Skyraider of Kher. Really awesome Jund General. It's very rare to get these many tokens out of one card. For as the game progresses, you're just constantly getting more of these adorable little guys. So, just being able to get 6 O1s on his first cast, even if he's countered, that you still get the O1s, and then just getting increments of 2 every time you recast him from the command zone, amazing. That and his ability to sacrifice creatures just on, for not even any mana necessary, just sack a creature to give him +1/+0 is just blah. Words can't even describe how good that is. So this deck is really focused on making as much value from the O1s that we get off of him. It has some amount of token generators, but it's more focused on pumping the tokens than creating them. I actually might want to include more Anthem effects in the deck that I have now currently, but we'll have to see. So enough talk, enough jab, let's start getting into it. We'll put Prosch off to the side here. We run 4 forests, which I'll go through here, and the deck is falling. Oh dear. We have 4 mountains. Yes, it's falling again. In for the rescue! And I believe 3 swamps as our basic land package. We have 3 land tutor cards in Evolving Wilds, Terramorphic Expanse, and Jund Panorama. 2... let me see if I can fix this really quick. There we go. 2 multicolor lands in Command Tower and Savage Lands, the tapped land that can tap for any one of our colors. And these are fine. We run my classic 3-color land package. You'll see this in all of my 3-color EDH decks. You have the bounce lands, so Gruul Turf, Golgari Rot Farm, and Rakdos Carnarium. I just really like these to be able to replay utility lands coming up. We have the 3 buddy lands, Roon Rubound Crag, Woodland Cemetery, and Dragonskull Summit. We have the 3 Theros temples, Temple of Abandon, Temple of Malady, and Temple of Malice. And then we have the 3 shock lands in Stomping Ground, Overgrown Tomb, and it's moving again. It's not cooperating with me today. And Blood Crypt. And now for our utility lands, Kher Keep. It came with the pre-con deck. Being able to pay 2 mana to make more Cobalts is what we want. Springjack Pasture, not as good as Kher Keep because you need to get 4 mana to make some tokens, but just again, another token producer on a land. It's fantastic. Bojuka Bog. There are a lot of graveyard shenanigans in EDH, so being able to deal with those on a land is awesome. Reliquary Tower, we can draw a lot of cards in the deck, so it's nice to be able to keep all those cards that we're drawing. Temple of the False God, kind of an EDH staple at this point, being able to add 2 to my mana pool. It's a budget Ancient Tomb, so just great. Opal Palace, it is very real to get commander damage with Prosch, and there are 2 combos in the deck that really work to make him a one-hit kill. So this one's very nice to be able to make Prosch bigger as you cast him, which obviously is very nice. Kessig Wolf Run, just a staple in any deck running red-green, right? Being able to just, at instant speed, give a creature trample out of nowhere is great, right? You don't even have to pump the creature. It's like if we have a creature that doesn't trample, like Prosch, for example, and we already have him at enough high power, excuse me, to get through, we can just pay red, green, and 0 to give him trample so that he can trample through. So, let's try that. There we go, now we're cooking. So, being able to just give trample at instant speed, again, very nice. This is just not working here. Give me 1 sec, guys. Alright, so we're back. We got a little bit sturdier of a backdrop here. Next up, we have Rogue's Passage. Being able to give Prosch unblockable for that one-hit kill is, again, really nice. 2 land destruction cards in Ghost Quarter and Strip Mine. Just, I don't know. Ghost Quarter is just a nice budget land to run, and I think I just had a Strip Mine lying around. These are just always great lands to run in any deck, just because there are pesky lands that you need to be able to deal with, so these are great. Onwards to our ramp cards. Secure Tribe Elder, again, just a ramp of growth with legs. Awesome. The standard Kodama's Reach and Cultivate package to grab our basics. Solemn Simulacrum, a great ramp card. 4 mana 2/2. That when he enters, we get to go search for a land. When he dies, we get to draw a card. I think a little bit's being cut off there. There we go. We have a couple of 4 mana sorceries that grab us some lands. Ranger's Path, search the library for 2 forests, put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. This allows us to grab our shock lands as Skyshroud Claim, except this one puts them into play untapped, which is very nice. Explosive Vegetation, grabbing 2 basic lands, can be swamps or mountains as well. And onto our Mana Rocks, which I don't run too many in this deck. I feel like the sorcery speed ramp is fine, so standard Soul Ring that everyone seems to be running these days. And then I run the Signets, the Gruul Signet, Golgari Signet, as well as the Rakdos Signet. Now we're getting into some spot destruction. Artifact Mutation, it destroys an artifact, it makes tokens, kind of fits with the deck's theme of needing small creatures on the board and destroying an artifact. It's very nice. Frozen Grip, hard to argue with removal spell, just great instant speed, destroying an artifact or enchantment with a split second. Beast Within, destroys any permanent, puts a 3/3 beast on the battlefield, again, great removal spell. Reclamation Sage, give me a 2/1 and destroy an artifact or enchantment, I'll take that. Putrefy, destroy target artifact or creature that can't be regenerated. Sounds solid. Wrecking Ball, this one can be replaced with something else. This one actually might get the cut for another Anthem effect, but we'll see. Destroy a creature or land. Gives us a little bit more land destruction, gives us some creature destruction, so we'll see. It might stay in the deck. I'll have to see. Acidic Slime, a 2/2 Death Toucher that when it enters the battlefield destroys an artifact or enchantment. Again, one of those staple green creatures that if you don't know what else to run in the deck, this guy's a great option. Now onwards to our token producers, or cards that work well with tokens. Impact Tremors, ever since it got spoiled, I've been in love with this card for EDH. Anything that wants tokens or lots of creatures entering the battlefield, this card is just going to shine. Let me just move the camera a little bit here, hopefully it's not going to tip. It's a little mini Perforos, right? Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under our control, it deals a damage to each opponent. This kind of goes under the wayside a lot, right? If you play it early game, and people will normally just ignore it, but then come late game, when you're casting Prosch, you have a lot of the other token producers, it starts doing a lot of damage. So I really like this card, having a lot of my red decks that make tokens. Beastmaster Ascension doesn't make tokens, but whenever creature we control attacks, we put a quest counter on it. As long as it has 7 or more quest counters, creatures you control get +5/+5. Again, it's a lot scarier swinging with 5/6s than 0/1s. Awakening Zone, it's an enchantment that at the beginning of our upkeep, we get an 0/1 colorless Eldrazi spawn that has sacrifice to add a colorless. I never really sack to add a mana. I just like to have the 0/1s around as tokens for sack fodder, or to, pump up with Beastmaster Ascension or things like that. Ophiomancer, This guy seems a little weak in the deck. Again, another cut that I might be making here soon, but we'll see. 3 mana, 2/2. At the beginning of each upkeep, if you control no snakes, put a 1/1 black snake creature token with Death Touch onto the battlefield. It's fine, I guess. The big man himself, Perforos, he has been the... Move the camera a little bit here again, sorry guys. The bane of a lot of people's EDH playgroups. Just being able to shock everyone for each creature that enters the battlefield is great. We hate for this guy to become a creature because we just want that effect over and over again. And it's a lot easier to deal with him if he's a creature. So, generally speaking, he's just a 4-mana enchantment, but generally speaking, that's just what we want. And for 3 mana, we can pump our creatures by 1, so he's just an all-around all-star in EDH. Parallel Lives, what's better than making a bunch of tokens than doubling those tokens? Just a great card. Ogre Battle Driver, granting haste and a +2 to their power is awesome. Just turn 4 Ogre Battle Driver and then follow up with maybe a little bit of ramp to get to Prosch. You're just dealing out so much damage that turn. It's nuts. Doubling Season, kind of an auto-include in any tokens deck. If you don't have the near $30 for Doubling Season, Primal Vigor's just as good. Except this one only affects you. If an effect would put 1 or more tokens onto the battlefield under your control, it puts twice as many of those onto the battlefield instead. And if an effect would place 1 or more counters on a permanent, that one's big, it would place twice that many. Those counters also count for Planeswalkers, which is something that Parallel Lives, Primal Vigor doesn't do. So that's actually a big difference in this deck because we do run 2 Planeswalkers. Endrixar, Master Breeder, great token producer. We do have a couple of sacrifice outlets in the deck so we can keep him around, just to keep making those thralls. Whenever you cast a creature spell, put X 1/1 black thrall creature tokens onto the battlefield, where X of the spells convert a mana cost, and if you control 7 or more thralls, we have to sacrifice them. So, awesome token producer. I love this guy. Kazul, Tyrant of the Cliffs. He's a little bit more of a defensive card. Whenever a creature and opponent attacks, if you're the defending player, put a 3/3 red ogre creature token onto the battlefield, unless that creature's controller pays 3. He's not exactly great for making mass tokens, he's just good for making good quality tokens. And he's also kind of a deterrent, so hey, don't attack me, because you're going to have to pay up a lot of mana, or else I'm going to get a lot of power on board. So, he's still a really good card. I really like him in the deck. So he's definitely staying in. Kolaghan, the Storm's Fury. She is awesome in the deck. I never really realized the synergies that she had with Prosch. So you cast Prosch, you get the 6/01 Kobolds. Next turn you dash Kolaghan. Because it's whenever creature you control attacks, creatures you control get +1/+0. Your Kobolds are getting +2/+0 when you attack with Prosch and Kolaghan. Again, just dealing massive amounts of damage to someone very fast. Thunderfoot Baloth. I love this guy. 6 mana 5/5 Trampler with Lieutenant, so when we control Prosch, he becomes a 7/7 Trampler, but he also gives all of our other creatures +2/+2 in Trample. Again, making those 0-1s into 2/3 Tramplers seems pretty good. Even when we do have some of the other Anthem effects out, just giving everything Trample all the time is great. Avenger of Zendikar, the most broken token producer in EDH. Just blah, all the plants all the time. Great card. Chancellor of the Forge, I just recently put this guy in the deck, so I haven't had too much time to test with him. But I just saw him laying around in my collection of cards, and I was just reading him, I was like, seems pretty good. I mean, he is a little red intensive, so it could be hard casting him, but just getting a lot of those 1/1 tokens, because, I mean, if we cast Prosch, we're going to have at least 6 Kobolds, so casting this guy and then getting 6 more tokens seems pretty good. And with token producers, or token doublers, excuse me, he could be really good. On to some just generally good, big late-game creatures. Michaeloff, really good token producer, actually, with Devour 2. So as he enters the battlefield, you can sacrifice any number of creatures. This creature enters the battlefield with twice that many +1/+1 counters on it. And at the beginning of our upkeep, we get a 1/1 green sapperling for each +1/+1 counter on Michaeloff. So, great token producer. He gets very big very fast. So overall, just a really good card. Prey Caesar Dragon. He's kind of like a similar effect of Prosch, just being able to deal a lot of damage in the air. Same thing with that Devour 2. But when he attacks, it deals damage to target creature or player equal to the number of +1/+1 counters on him. He's just a great card. Deathbringer Thoktar, also in the precon, also just very good. Whenever a creature dies, you can put a +1/+1 counter on him, and you remove a +1/+1 counter to deal damage to a creature or player. If you wanted to, you could run more Death Touch enablers, like Bow of Nylea or Gorgon's Head, Gorgon Flail, because he just becomes a machine gun and just nails all of the creatures on the board. So once you have that combo enabled, there's just no creatures going to be entering the battlefield except if they're indestructible. So, great card. Onwards now to some recursion creatures and spells. Bloodsoaked Champion is a little bit weird in EDH, but I find that being able to have just a recurable creature to Skull Clamp, to sack with Prosch, and just very easy to trigger that raid ability is great. He's not really getting into the red zone very often. He's just more of like a sacrifice fodder style creature. Same thing with Reassembling Skeleton, except I don't have to attack with this guy. It's just 2 mana, return him back to the battlefield tapped. So, awesome. Mimic Vat, an all-star and commander for an artifact. Imprint, whenever a non-token creature is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, you may exile that card. If you do, return each other card exiled with Mimic Vat to its owner's graveyard, so gives back what it's taken before. And for 3 mana, tap it, put a token onto the battlefield as a copy of the exiled card. It gains haste, exile it at the beginning of the next end step. So, basically any of our really good enters the battlefield creatures, like Solemn Simulacrum or Avenger of Zendikar, we can put under this thing and just keep generating tokens of that. Just awesome card. Victimize. Choose 2 target creature cards in your graveyard, sacrifice a creature, which is generally a token. If you do, return the chosen card to the battlefield tapped. So, getting back a lot of our big value creatures just at the cost of 3 mana and a token. Awesome. Eternal Witness, staple EDH recursion card, 3 mana, 2/1. Enters the battlefield, you may return target card from your graveyard to your hand. What could be better? Dread Return, 4 mana sorcery, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with Flashback, sacrificing 3 creatures. So again, 3 tokens to grab another creature. Seems pretty good. Skull Clamp, awesome in any tokens deck, just being able to clamp an 0/1 or a 1/1, have it die, draw 2 cards. Again, the card's busted. Here are just some other utility spells. Viscera Seer is an awesome sacrifice outlet to be able to scry 1. Just great. Faithless Looting, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. Really nice draw in red. I think the deck needed a little bit more draw, so that's why I included this card. Lightning Greaves, protecting Prosch, getting him into the red zone early, which is great. Goblin Bombardment, probably the best sacrifice outlet in red. Just sacrifice a creature to ping a target. It's awesome. Evolutionary Leap is a card I'm also trying in the deck. It's another sacrifice outlet. It's what a lot of people refer to as the fixed survival of the fittest, which is probably true. Sacrifice a creature. Reveal a card from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Put the card into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So again, you don't get to choose what creature you tutor for, but it's a sacrifice outlet. I'm just trying it out. If it's not good enough, I'll probably get Survival of the Fittest for the deck. But it really doesn't even need Survival of the Fittest, right? It's just good on its own. It doesn't really need too many tutors. Blood Artist. We need some life gain in the deck. He does a very good job of gaining us life. Whenever it or another creature dies, target player loses a life and you gain a life. So dealing damage and gaining us back a life. Awesome. Rakdos Charm, a very nice utility spell, being able to exile a graveyard, destroying an artifact, or have a creature deal damage to its controller. So if we're versing against other token decks, we can sacrifice all of our tokens to like Goblin Bombardment, shoot them in the face for a lot, and then Rakdos Charm to kill them off, which is awesome. Jar of Eyeballs. I don't see this card played enough in EDH, and I think it's really good. It's a really good tutor once you start sacrificing enough tokens. Whenever a creature you control dies, put 2 eyeball counters on Jar of Eyeballs, and for 3 mana, remove all eyeball counters from Jar of Eyeballs. Look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of eyeball counters removed this way. Put one of them into your hand, the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So, essentially this becomes 3 mana tap, Demonic Tutor, right? When you sacrifice enough tokens, this just gets you the cards that you need right away. Awesome. Fecundity, it's a little bit symmetrical with other people, right? It gives them advantage as well, but we do need the draw, so this one fits pretty nicely into our deck. Fires of Yavimaya, we need a little bit more haste enablers, so this is one of them. Just 3 mana enchantment that gives everything haste, which is exactly what we need. It's a cheap haste enabler for everything, along the lines of Anger, similar, right? 4 mana 2/2. As long as it's in your graveyard and you control a mountain, creatures you control have haste. Awesome. So, really nice. We run 2 Planeswalkers in the deck. Garruk Wildspeaker, great for ramp. He makes tokens himself, and he overruns our creatures. What could be better? I'm not sure. Xenagos the Reveler, he makes a lot of mana in the deck because we have a lot of tokens. He also makes tokens. The -6 we're not really using all that often because, I mean, his plus and 0 are just that good. So why would we want to get rid of it? I'm not sure. Deathreap Ritual. It's a little bit more draw for the deck. At the beginning of each end step of creature died this turn, you may draw a card. Seems good. Jared's Orders. This is one way to get Anger into our graveyard and tutoring for the creature that we need. 4 mana sorcery, search your library for up to 2 creature cards and reveal them. Put one into your hand, the other into your graveyard. Shuffle your library. Awesome. Getting 2 cards. Dictate of Erebos. It's a 1 mana more Grave Pact, but it's also a little bit less mana intensive in terms of the black mana. And this also has Flash, so it could be a combat trick or, you know, whatever we need. Just also really nice to have this type of ability in a tokens deck that we're looking to sacrifice a lot of tokens. Makes people sacrifice their good creatures that they want to keep around. Vicious Shadows is insane in EDH for any red deck. Whenever a creature is put into a graveyard from play, you may have Vicious Shadows deal damage to target player equals to the number of cards in that player's hand. This gets out of control very quickly and starts taking out players very fast. Just being able to sacrifice an 0/1 and then shoot someone for like 7 damage. You don't even know, man. It's like the feeling you get is incredible. Now on to the 2 cards that give Prosch an instant kill. Boltwing Marauder gives Prosch I can't remember exactly the number that he gives, but you have Boltwing Marauder on the battlefield and a haste enabler. Cast Prosch, make the 6 tokens. You have 7 triggers of Boltwing Marauder on the stack. You put them all on Prosch. You equip Prosch with, you know, either Lightning Greaves, or you have Anger in the Yard, you have Fires of Yavimaya, whatever. You attack with Prosch, and I think you have to sacrifice 4 tokens, if I'm not mistaken, to just get the last bit of points of damage in, but again, it gets you to the 21, so he's a little impractical, but I do like the fact that he can give Prosch 1-hit kill. And our all-or-nothing card, Xenagos, God of Revels. This one's fun because it's sort of like all hope is lost. Let's play Xenagos, and then follow Prosch, make tokens, sack all of the tokens, go to combat, trigger Xenagos, make Prosch a one-hit kill, hopefully get there. So this isn't how we're winning every time, but if we need to get there and we know the opponent's tapped out, this is how we're winning, right? If it's our last desperate stand to win the game. So that's my Prosch deck. It's pretty general. I don't run the food chain combo just because I don't really like a lot of decks that have combos in them, like consistent infinite mana or infinite tokens combos, or just infinite combos in general, right? I like to have just a few combos in my decks that'll win the games, so like Xenagos, God of Revels, and Boltwing Marauder as the two for this deck. I feel like if you run too many infinite combos or insta-win combos, people aren't going to want to play with you anymore. So it's good to have some, right? Because if EDH games go on for too long, you want to have a way to end them. But you also don't want to have that be your only way to win, right? So this deck is mostly just make tokens, pump them up, bash face, right? So one card I'm actually looking to add that I'm still debating on is Coat of Arms. It's really good with all the Cobalts, but it's also very, how should I say this, dangerous to play if you're running against a tribal deck, because they're getting benefits too, and they're really getting benefits, whereas this one is kind of just like, oh, we're having our Cobalts, plants, and Saprolings get buffs, and that's about it. But, yeah, we'll have to see. I will make sure to update you guys on if there's any changes on the deck, but it's a pretty solid list. It's a pretty standard list as well. If you're going to be looking at a Prosch list, this is going to be very similar to most that you're going to find. There are some minor things that I have that people don't, because it's kind of like a little twist that I have on the deck, but yeah, if you're looking for a fun Jund general to play, and you don't want to play Kresh or Karthus, Prosch is awesome. So I want to thank you all for watching. On Tumblr, I had a post about which decks I should run next. Now I want you guys to decide. I'll have a list of all of the decks that I have in the description below, so that I want you guys on YouTube to decide what deck tech you would like to see next. So thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know in the comments below if the video quality was a little bit better. I know I had to switch up some things a little bit here with the backing and the camera, but it seemed like it was running smoother. But again, thanks again for watching. I'll speak with you all soon.